Hello there, YouTube. This is the Rogue Gem Player, and coming at you with a Fire King Snake Eye deck profile. It it's another Fire King deck, and it plays an engine where, even though the ban list has touched the Snake Eye portion of the deck, the core is still quite usable. So let's get right into it. It is a it takes it, so the way I build decks like this is I do kind of like a skeleton, and then I kind of add things in as I need them. So this is tested, but it's not like like super hard tested. These type of decks, they're more proof of concept, but they're really cool like ideas that if you really wanted to try them, first of all, with the tins coming out this year, uh, you could probably get a lot of the Snake Eye stuff for pretty cheap. Dia Star is going to get reprinted at the end of the year as part of the rarity collection. So yeah, there's a lot of things that make the deck a lot more accessible, especially now that we have the structure decks for Fire Kings. So it's cool. It's one of those. It's an easy upgrade, and you don't need to necessarily go right to this Fiendsmith stuff, which is not in this deck. So let's start with the Fire King stuff. We're starting with 3 copies of Legendary Fire King Ponix. Thanks to the Snake Eye stuff, you don't actually normal summon this card nearly as much, which allows you to play other things. But the main thing is it does give you access to the field spell through getting Sanctuary or whatnot. It's one of those. It gives you a lot of options. Okay, and also if one of your monsters does die, that's fire. You can just special summon it and get a search during your opponent's turn, or add it back to your hand. And then when this card dies during the next standby, you can add it right back to your hand. So that ensures you always have a monster you can summon off of it. So now for the rest of the Fire King stuff, we're playing 3 copies of the High Avatar Kirin, which gives you more cards because it does allow you to just for control. It special summons a Fire King from hand or grave when it does die. So it does give you options, and it's level 8, which helps with making the rank 8. And then we're playing 3 copies of the new Gorunix, which does allow you to blow up fire cards in your deck, which or Fire Beast, Beast Warrior. So it does, allow you to blow up a Fire King in the deck, which gives you more options. Especially since we do play 1 copy of the old Kirin, which acts as a Foolish Burial for fire monsters. And then for the remaining Fire King stuff, we are playing 2 copies of Arvata, which is searchable. 2 copies of the Rangbali. These are your main level 4s that you want to play. We're not playing Barong. Barong doesn't really get you anything, really all that much, especially since you're going to be searching anyway through the Kirin, and then 1 Kirin and 1 low-level Garunix. These are kind of just options. Garunix punishes your opponent for blowing it up, and then worst case scenario, you can special summon a Fire King from the deck when it does get destroyed by battle. So it does punish your opponent from destroying it. So it does float into stuff that you need. Now, for the Snake Eye stuff, so we are starting with 3 copies of the Dia Star, the Black Witch. She is probably the best. She's also the best and worst card, and the reason being is when in hand, you discard the special, so it gives you free link material, but it isn't a Fire King, but it does give you access to the Sinful Spoils card, which does get you into the Snake Eye engine or the Fire King engine. But by herself, she doesn't really do anything. But it does act as a body for link material and things like that. So there's options. It does also make Wanted pretty useful. And now for the actual Snake Eye monsters, or the roaches as they call them, 1 Ash, 1 Poplar, 1 Birch, 1 Oak, and 1 of the Flamberge. So with Ash and Poplar being put to 1, you can try to play multiple copies of the other ones, but you're gonna cycle through one of them. It just means the deck is a lot more susceptible to things like Ash Blossom and negation on stopping the Ash. Poplar is, whatever. But it's a pretty good resource engine. And thanks to the fact that they are fire monsters, so they kind of mesh with some of the cards. And the fact that they go to spell trap is fine. So, for the hand traps, we're playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring and 2 copies of Nibiru. Until the format really hard defines itself, we do have the new water support coming out soon, and the end of year stuff. Once those things get into circulation and solidify, this is the hand trap lineup that I like to play. Now, for spells, we're going to start with the Snake Eye related stuff, which is 3 copies of Wanted, Seeker of the Sinful Spoils. It adds Diabell Star, and then it gives you a free draw every turn if you bottom deck a Sinful Spoils card. So, in this case, you're going to get 1 free draw off of it, which is important. It gives you, advantage. We're then playing the 1 copy of the Temple and 1 copy of Original Sinful Spoils. Original Sinful Spoils just gives you free advantage because it does allow you to summon Ponix from the deck. And then if it's in the graveyard, you can just, add a level 1 and then, bottom deck a card. For the Fire King stuff, we're playing 3 copies of the Island and the 1 copy of the Sanctuary to search out the island. So the idea is that you use Ponix to search out Island, or the Sanctuary, which activates Island, and now all of a sudden you have a protection card on board because you can destroy a fire monster on hand or field if the field spell will be destroyed, and it punishes your opponent from trying to stop it. So, and then Quick Exceed, which very rarely happens, but it does happen. And then 1 Circle of the Fire King and 1 Fire King Skyburn. These are one of that you can search off the Ponix, especially if you already have drawn into the islands. And then for traps, we're playing the 1 copy of Escalation of the Fire King, which is basically a Tri-Brigade Revolt if you choose to play it. It does summon from hand, deck, and graveyard of one of each of the types. But you're going to activate this and then immediately either link or Exceed summon with it. 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence as our main trap for right now. Now, for the extra deck, it's really flexible now. With Apollousa being banned, there's some combos you can play, but like I said, if you have them, play them. Things like the Snake Eye stuff, really wanted to play that engine. But there's a lot of options. And as the format develops, the extra decks kind of get more defined. So we're playing 1 of the rank 8, and then we're playing 1 copy of Infernal Flame Banshee because it is a level 4 that you can summon, rank 4 that you can summon occasionally, and it does kind of get into your Snake Eye stuff by getting Poplar if you really needed it. And then for links, for Link 2, IP Masquerena, Anima, Hida, Nightmare Phoenix, and then for the Link 3s, we're going to be playing the Promethean Princess for the Emblo Whale combo, Nightmare Unicorn, Emblo Whale, Selene, Access Code, Underworld Goddess, the BLS. I'm actually kind of testing this because we're playing high levels, so you kind of want to try and play it. Boral Sword, and Zealantis. Zealantis is kind of just in here as a kind of a test. We're getting trap monsters to pop up, and trap monsters have this weird interaction where if they leave the field, they can't come back as trap monsters. They have to be reset as traps, and since these banish, monsters, and then they bring them back, they just die. And not to mention that it deals with things like tokens and other stupid stuff like that. So, but yeah, this is kind of one of those concept decks that is still relevant. You can very certainly try it, and there's a lot of options. And the thing is there's a natural progression. You start with Fire Kings, and then you can kind of go wherever you want. There's like 4 or 5 different ways of playing this deck, purely because the Fire King engine is very concise because it plays 1 card really, really well. So let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.